At this point, we've allowed users to purchase products, and now we're ready to update the rest of the app. Let's review the purchase flow so far. First, the user taps on a button to indicate the purchase, at which point the user must confirm the purchase. Once confirmed, a payment request is sent to Apple servers and is processed. Our app receives a transaction containing the information of the purchase. We've done all of this. Now, once we confirm the purchase, we'll modify the array in our IAP store. But just having a boolean around in memory is not a good long-term solution since it will be erased once the app is terminated. We'll handle that in a later episode. From there, we can update our interface based on whether the content was purchased, at which point we can show the purchase-based content to the user. As it is, all of our owls are starting off as being considered not purchased. Let's fix that to be more accurate with an initializer. StoreKit's transaction type allows us to get information about the latest transaction for a product ID. In the case of this app, if a transaction has been verified for a non-consumable owl, then it should be considered purchased. And that's going to require the initializer to be async as well. And because, as of this recording, Swift doesn't have an appropriate built-in asynchronous version of map, we'll need to switch to the overload that I wrote at the bottom of this file. Now that the owl purchases are set up to start off with, let's head to the Purchase button so we can make future updates. First, we'll need a reference to the IAP store. With that, we can attempt to buy a product with the button's action. Now let's update Owl DLC view to show the purchased content. We'll add an initializer that finds out if an owl is purchased. If so, the text can just be the product's description. For the image name, we'll need the string that comes after the last period in the product ID. And if the owl has not been purchased, we can use the initializer that has default values. Then in Content View, you'll need to pass an owl in via the navigation link destination. And that's it. Now comes the fun part, testing. And for making a purchase, you'll need to create a Sandbox account. When you start your app and initiate a purchase, Apple understands that you're working in a Sandbox environment, into which you can log in as a Sandbox user. The great thing about Sandbox user accounts is that they don't require credit cards on file. The payment process always goes through, allowing you to emulate the most useful real-world condition for a user. The less than great thing about a Sandbox account is that it is still an Apple account. That means you need to have an unused email address for it. Once you create the account, you'll need to verify it before it becomes usable. Previously, you'd be able to use a Gmail account and add a plus sign in the address, and Apple would consider it valid. But they've since removed that capability, but not to worry, you can add periods in it instead. So if I had a jessedoe@gmail.com address, then jesse.doe@gmail.com would work. Apple will consider it to be a different address, but Gmail will not. Just keep in mind today's workaround may fail in the future, and we may need to search for a new one. Now, in older versions of iOS, we needed to log out of our device and then log in as a Sandbox user. Nowadays, we can now log in as a regular account and a Sandbox user. This is managed in App Store settings. Let's create a Sandbox account and make some purchases. To get started, open up App Store Connect and select Users and Access. This is where we'll create our Sandbox users. You'll see on the left side, underneath the Users section, one for the Sandbox. Select the Testers link. To create a new Sandbox account, click the plus sign. You'll be prompted to provide a bunch of information. Fill it out and click the Invite button. You can't auto-generate passwords here, so it may take a few attempts to get something that works. It may take a few moments, but an email confirmation will arrive. Click on the link and you'll be asked to sign a few more agreements. With that taken care of, you're ready to start testing. Return back to Xcode and build and run the project. When the app starts, tap on a Buy button. You'll be prompted to enter your username and password. After which, you'll see a payment sheet indicating you are making a Sandbox purchase.